Hey everyone, welcome to our live Ask Me Anything meetup. So excited to be here today. Got a really cool 4 questions for you. So hitting it up really fast today. When I think about what the goal and objective for me is, it's really to help managers be better leaders, to be more successful, more specifically for new and aspiring managers. And so today's topic is communication, because one of the top skills that the best, most successful managers have is they have the ability to communicate effectively. So we've got 4 questions surrounding that theme, and I'm super happy to get into them today. If you are watching the replay, then feel free to simply drop any question that you have in the comments, and I will be more than happy to answer every single one of those questions. Um, but have no fear, I'm going to keep this quick for you today. So, the first question is: what are some common pitfalls that new managers should avoid? So for this one, I really have just one pitfall to talk about, and it has to do with difficult conversations and avoiding situations that are uncomfortable to talk about. So the pitfall is simply not wanting to talk about them. When you have to tell someone that their performance isn't meeting expectations, when you have to tell someone that it's something sensitive like a fragrance issue, a body odor issue, when you have to talk to someone about something that they are doing wrong, maybe they had a violation of the company's policy. These are those interactions that are not easy to have. And so the common pitfall for a new leader is simply to not want to have the conversation. I think the best way to avoid it, I mean, it kind of goes without saying, is you just have to have those conversations. And the way you line yourself up with success is you prepare and you plan and you practice what you want to say. Even if that means you need to write out a script, you don't want to read the script to the person when you're meeting with them. But if you need to write out a script so that you can sort of have your thoughts down and practice the flow the way you want to deliver it, I highly suggest doing that. And then the other thing aside from just having these conversations, is getting your HR team involved whenever necessary, especially when the topic might be a little bit more sensitive. HR can be really good at giving just some other tips for how to deliver these sorts of tough talks. All right. The next question number 2: what steps can I take to ensure that the outcome of a difficult conversation leads to positive change? I think the number one step is to be sure that you are clearly communicating what the exact issue is. As leaders, we often want to, or we know what the issue is, but when we're talking with people, we want to deliver it in a way where maybe they can best receive it. And so sometimes that leads to delivering it in a softer way. Sometimes that means delivering that message in a way that will land a little bit easier for the person. And so in doing that, we don't really discuss or clearly state what the actual issue is. So you definitely want to be sure that that's your first step, and then give people some action steps to correct whatever the problem is, right? That would be the next thing I would say. So once you've clearly identified, give people those steps, and then follow that up with giving them something in writing. This doesn't have to be a performance improvement plan. Sometimes it's just a follow up email to say, today we discussed X, and these are a couple of steps you can take, or these are the process steps to take to do this better moving forward in the future, that sort of thing. And then finally, always to check in with people regularly. So after you have this meeting, you've delivered that clear message, you've provided them with some action steps to take to correct the problem, you follow that up in writing, just giving them that opportunity to ask you follow-up questions, checking in with them to be sure they still understand and that things are actually going better now, that they're meeting whatever those expectations are. That is how I would ensure that any difficult conversations that I'm having lead to the positive change that I'm looking for. Question number 3. How do I handle defensive or emotional reactions during a challenging conversation? Ooh, I would say for this, you definitely want to anticipate what people's interactions might be. So if you've had a little bit of time with your team, you get to know people and you get to know how they respond to different sorts of information being relayed to them. So anticipate that. And in your anticipation, there are a couple of things you could do. You can, first of all, you could practice getting a particular response and be prepared with how you want to address whatever that response is that you're anticipating. You can prepare so that if it happens, you're ready. But what you also can do when you're expecting certain reactions is you can address them before they even occur. So, just for example, let's say you're in a one on one with someone and you're delivering a difficult conversation. Expressing beforehand could be something as simple as, this information that I'm about to relay to you, I realize that it might be uncomfortable to talk about, it may be upsetting for you, but we do need to discuss your recent performance, that sort of thing. So you're sort of addressing the anticipation of whatever emotion you think that person might have had, a response, reaction. You are addressing it before it happens. So those would be my two things on something like that. I would handle those by addressing them before or preparing myself with responses so that if they happen, I'm prepared to say what I need to say. All right, I said I'm keeping it quick today. One more question for this live meetup, and that is how do I Oh, excuse me. That is, what are some common barriers to active listening and how can I overcome them? Now, honestly, I love this question. I feel like one of the most common barriers to active listening is we simply don't listen to hear, right? And this happens not just in a professional sense, but often in our personal lives as well. We just don't listen to hear. And so while a person is talking, they may say something that triggers some sort of reaction in us. And, what happened? And maybe I shouldn't say us, right? Because maybe this isn't you, but it triggers some sort of reaction in us and it makes us either interrupt them because we want to respond right away to what they said, or it makes us, while they continue talking, we are quiet, but in our minds, we are already preparing how we are going to respond to what they just said, that sort of thing. So I would say how to deal with these things, how to overcome this sort of barrier of not listening is to force yourself to listen to people. And you can practice this again in your personal life as well. Force yourself to hear all of what a person is saying. Stay calm, stay cool, stay quiet, and force yourself to listen. And then when you force yourself to listen to what a person is saying, you also want to pause before you respond, right? Especially if something has caused some sort of emotional reaction in you, pause before you respond to whatever it is that they've said, including if you need to delay your response. As I've become more experienced as a leader, as I've grown, in age, to be honest, I have developed the ability to delay my response, thankfully, because that was not always the case. And so don't delay to avoid the conversation, just delaying until infinity, but do delay thoughtfully, telling a person, hey, I appreciate what you just shared with me. Allow me to take some time to think about that, and I'll come back to you with a response, that sort of thing. And then you want to come back to your direct report, your peer, your manager, whoever it is. You want to come back to them and actually express or give your response to what they shared with you. And the thought is that in your delay, it will allow you to collect yourself so that when you respond, it's a much more emotionally intelligent response. All right. So those are our 4 questions today. I hope that those things, my responses to those questions are super helpful to you. If you have additional questions, either on this communication topic, if you have questions just in general about whatever's going on with you in your life as a manager, or if you are an aspiring manager and you have questions about, developing a skill or maybe getting ready to have an interview for a management role you're applying for. Again, I am more than happy to answer your questions. Just drop them in the comments if you're watching the replay. And the other thing that I want to note before I go is I am super excited that I have launched a pop up community. And so this will be an excellent opportunity for you to have unlimited access to me for 30 days to ask me a question, as many questions as you would like, but you can ask me a question every day. If there's something going on with you at work, going on, a skill that you're trying to build, again, whatever it is that you need, I am happy to be available. So you'll have access to me in this pop-up community. I highly suggest that you secure your spot now. There is a link in the bio section of my channel. Again, it's right under the pop-up community. And so you can sign up for that. And we are launching on July 24th. Again, I'm super excited about this. If you have questions about that as well, drop them in the comments if you're watching the replay. And I am so grateful that you chose to spend this time with me today. Super excited for all the things that I have coming. And until the next one, as I always say, get practical and lead better.